you could say all day, well, give me a $10 million life insurance policy. So if this guy dies, I get $10 million, except it's a startup like lemonade stand. So
there are some lemonade stands that are worth $10 million, but they're probably not the ones that are just starting up.
Exactly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fun Money Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ross Powell.
And I'm the other guy, Josh Hargrove. Still here.
Still here. Still rocking. And we have video this time, too.
Look at that. Hey.
It's going to be great. Hello, Internet.
Hello, Internet.
Hey, Josh, you recently went on a family vacation to Florida.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Give me some highlights.
It was
Give me some lowlights.
It was a great trip. We went to 30A. And if you're listening and you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. It's a great place to visit. White sandy beaches, clear water, great weather. It's wonderful. And that whole stretch of the Florida Panhandle is it's really nice. And so we've been there a couple times. My wife wanted to go because she's turning 40 this year. So this was her, hey, I'm turning 40. Let's take the family on a trip with some family friends. So that's what we did.
Congratulations to Kelly.
Yeah, good job, Kelly. Way to live this long.
Especially with as many years have been with you.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, that's a challenge.
Quite the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, you're not even 2 years in and you're struggling. We had some bad weather the first couple of days.
Okay.
Storms and rain and whatnot.
Did you find some non-outdoor family activities?
Yeah, we played a lot of cards and stuff. The little shopping, bike riding, whenever in between rainy spells. And we ended up being able to extend the vacation a couple of extra days to capture, like, basically the day we were supposed to leave, it was going to be perfect weather.
Oh.
And the next couple of days after that. And so the three families, us and two other families, it just so happened that we could all stay 2 more days, but it was the challenge now was that this was a holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
So where could we find that's available on a busy holiday weekend in the Florida Panhandle? And so we literally found one place that was open that could accommodate us. One, and we jumped on it, and we were able to extend our trip out a couple of days.
Excellent.
Perfect. 2 perfect beach weather days. It was great.
Good. Glad you were able to kind of capture those good weather days and to offset some of those card playing probability learning days.
And one thing that I thought that I noticed I was doing a lot that made me think of this podcast.
What's that?
So, you and I are big music fans. We always end with a, what have you been listening to? And I swear, like, every other comment sentence that somebody made me think of a song, and I started singing a song. It was constant throughout the week. Like, I know I was annoying them because I was starting to annoy me.
Okay.
With how many times I would just sing somebody would say something and I'd just bust out in the song referencing whatever they just said.
I don't doubt it.
Yep. That's how we are.
I'm that way.
Yep. All right. So we're talking today. That's a good segue.
Good segue into business valuation.
Business valuation, obviously.
Yes, of
See
course.
how we did that?
Natural.
Good radio
smooth,
podcast. They're
very
like,
smooth.
Here's this opening, and then wham! All of a sudden, you're just in the content, and you don't even know how you got there. That's how good we are.
Okay, Josh, what is a business evaluation?
So when you have a business, it's kind of like a property valuation or stock market evaluation, anything else, right? You're just trying to figure out, what is this thing worth?
Okay.
And there are some methodologies that are applied to figure out how much it is worth. Now, it's kind of complex with a business, though.
Yeah,
You've done some of this.
I used to work for a CPA, one of the partners, who often said the price of a business is what a willing seller will give up the business to a willing buyer.
Yeah.
And really, that's the defining issue.
Yeah.
And it can be based on all these different metrics and things, but at the end of the day, you've got to both agree that it's worth this amount and then trade hands.
So it gets tricky with a business because, let's say we're talking about a piece of real estate. Well, a house, certain square footage, a certain neighborhood, you can have comps. There's a lot of comps, and so you can really get a pretty good idea of what a house is worth. Or maybe a baseball card, like, okay, well, there's only so many of these, and here's what they've been selling for. A business is a lot more complex.
Yeah, and is significantly less fungible on the scale of currency to uniqueness. On the fungible scale, it's way out on the uniqueness, and where every business typically looks a little different based on its location, what it does, who owns it, the history, all those intangibles and goodwill that's related to that business. So the valuation gets tricky.
Yeah. So we want to talk about why does it even matter? Why should you have a valuation done? And there are obviously some obvious reasons. That's terrible. Ooh. There are some obvious reasons, I think, that just most people could probably come up with. Mainly, hey, I want to sell this thing. What's it worth? Right? That's the most obvious. But there are some other maybe less obvious reasons. How often should you do it, or when should you get it done, and should you do it multiple times? Like, how often should this happen? And then number 3, how do you do it? Or maybe a better question would be, who provides this type of calculation? How does that happen?
Okay, Josh, why should some business owner have their business valued?
Well, let's say you're going to sell it.
Okay.
So we talked about
number one easy one.
Number one easy one, exactly. You're going to sell it, right? So somebody's going to come in and go, okay. And really, what you're trying to do there is you're just trying to get an idea of what you think you could sell it for. Much the same way as if you had anything else that you wanted to sell. Again, let's say it's a house, and your realtor is going to say, I think we should list it for X, and then maybe you sell it for that, maybe you sell it for more or less, but that's just kind of a starting place. That's really what you're trying to get to with the business valuation, is about what do we think this thing is worth, sort of a starting point for negotiations.
If we're going to list it on the market,
right,
we want to get out of it. We want to turn it into cash and fund other parts of our life or other parts of our wealth.
Yeah.
Ready to get out of the active operation or active ownership of the business.
Yeah, and then another along these same lines would be exit planning. So let's suppose that Ross and I are partner together, and we co-own a business, and that business is worth, well, we don't know what it's worth, but we co-own a business that has some value.
Trying to figure out.
And you decide, because you are fed up with me.
I've had enough.
I'm out. Or for whatever reason, right? It could be completely amicable. Maybe you want to retire. Right? You're older and I'm younger. It's not true, but you're like, I want out. So exit planning. So we come up with a valuation because now the kind of the thought is, I'm going to buy you out. I'm going to buy out your half of the business. So that's another time when you would want to, along those same lines of a sell, but it's just internally. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Any other non-obvious reasons why you would need a business valuation?
Maybe a little bit less obvious would be, especially now we're going to talk a little bit to the smaller business owners. So seeking out investors, maybe you want to grow and you're going, okay, well, we want, need an influx of capital so we can expand our business, expand it into new markets, offer new services, hire a sales team, any number of reasons why you would want to maybe seek an investor. And so if you're going to go talk to somebody and say, hey, here's my pitch, well, that investor's going to say, okay, well, I'm going to give you X amount of money, and what do I get? And so you have to have some sort of mechanism to say, well, if you give me, $200,000, here's the percentage of the business that you're going to get. So kind of the classic. Do you watch Shark Tank?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
on occasion.
Yeah. So, when the people come in and they say, we're seeking X amount of money for this amount share of the business, and then they have this back and forth, basically what they're trying to get to is, what is your business worth? Make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. One more, I'm not sure if this is on your list or not, but life insurance.
That is on my list, but
so
take it away.
As we're reverting maybe back to point number 2 here, is this internal valuation can be driven by the life insurance process. So if you are doing a buy-sell agreement and you're going to try and fund it with this life insurance, for example, backing up, we're in partnership together, we're owning this business, and I die. You don't necessarily want to be partners with my wife or my heirs. You wanted to be partners with me because I'm the looks and the face of the business.
Oh, yeah.
So when I die, you want that life insurance to kick in and be an appropriate amount to buy out my half from my heirs, from my estate.
Yeah, exactly. If you die or if you become disabled, that's one of those very often overlooked ones. Kind of the same thing. You cannot continue to be an active partner in the business. And so how do we get your family taken care of financially and shift your responsibilities over in a way that's amicable to both parties?
Sure. And if I'm active in the business, you probably need also to factor in what does it take to replace me, or whatever partner is that actively working in the business. You would need to hire someone. So not just buying out their shares, but also then funding some of their ongoing expenses.
Yeah. And really what this is, so this conversation here that we're in now with, death, disability, you can add in divorce as well. These are kind of fall into this category of buy-sell planning or buy-sell agreement. And that is a sort of like a prenuptial agreement that you have for marriage. We're in partnership and we're saying, okay, in advance or in anticipation of one of these events transpiring, they may never happen. If they do, what's the plan? If you die, the plan is I'm going to buy out your shares from your estate. Okay. And so that's where the insurance comes in, or disability or divorce. You get divorced. Well, your wife is going, well, hey, I don't care to be part of this business. I want out. I'm leaving this guy, but I want my value. I want the money, my half of his shares, as it were.
Yep.
And so there are a few ways that you can do that. But yeah, essentially, these are all great reasons why a business valuation would be advantageous.
So when do you do these business valuations?
So again, the most obvious, if you're going to sell.
Okay.
Right then.
Or have some sale transaction occur, like this buy-sell trigger from a death or a divorce or a disability.
So
we can't plan on those, right?
You can't plan on those, which is why, if you're going to sell, you're going to hire a professional consulting firm, a business valuation company, and they come in a range of prices and offerings. And it can be expensive, like thousands and thousands of dollars, 10 to 20,000 or even beyond that once you factor in the commission that they'll take from the actual transaction if it gets sold. But just to say, come and give us a value for the business, regardless of whether it sells, that could be a little pricey. So you can have a full-on valuation that you'll do, which would be a good idea to do, especially if you're seeking investors or if you're trying to do like a sell or a partner buyout, something like that. Otherwise, every couple of years, you could do a little bit more often, a little bit less often, but you could do more of an informal valuation. You could get an accountant, you could get an insurance professional, a financial professional to do this for you for little to no cost. And it's really just to give you a ballpark idea.
Yeah.
One place that this happens, like absolutely will happen. So when we're talking about the insurance thing, insurance companies are going, okay, you need to justify why we would write this policy, this life insurance policy for you to buy out. You could say all day, well, give me a $10 million life insurance policy. So if this guy dies, I get $10 million, except it's a startup like lemonade stand. So
there are some lemonade stands that are worth $10 million, but they're probably not the ones that are just starting up.
Exactly. So there is some sort of valuation that is going to take place in order to justify that. So again, those are typically little to no cost, but it just gives you some idea. But having some sort of idea of what your business is worth is something that you should know. Really, certainly every year you should have at least some idea, and you should do some sort of formalized calculation every 1 to 3 years for sure.
Okay, some kind of structured calculation valuation that you're following every year, updating for the current year's impact and whatever points of evaluation you're reviewing to make your valuation. Update those on an annual basis at least.
Right. So let's say, for example, on the case of the death situation. You're going to die. You're not going to die.
Lemonade stand.
Hypothetically, if we knew that you were going to die, and so I'm going to buy your shares out from your estate. Maybe we agreed on something 10 years ago, but does that still apply now?
Yeah, all the success we've had with this lemonade stand,
Right,
on the beaches of Florida, have led us to an updated, increased valuation.
you just made me think of a song, "The Beaches of Cheyenne," Garth Brooks.
It's somewhere in there, somewhere hazy, way in the background.
I digress.
I'm thinking of, "Baby, if I hurry, I can still make Cheyenne." Is that the one you're thinking of? Nope.
No. That's not it.
All right.
Anyways, see what happens? This is why you might not want to go on vacation with me. Okay, so those are the most common reasons why you would want to get and the win of having that valuation done.
Okay, so you alluded this a little bit, but who is a good person to reach out and get contact for developing this valuation, both the formal and the informal?
You mentioned this earlier. You teased this that you did some of this before. So what did you do back in your accounting days? Did you ever provide a valuation to a business?
Yes.
There you go.
So as a CPA, this is some of the work that we have done.
Yep.
But it's not official. It's not signed off, and it's definitely not the market. So it's more of a range.
Yeah.
And so we'll evaluate both the assets that you have and then the business kind of separately. So what is it that you're selling? Are you selling the inventory and the real estate? Or are you selling the ongoing interest of it? And so those two separate valuations or combined valuations will be something that we could put together as your accountant, as your CPA, with the information that we probably already have, because you've got, like we've talked about before, you've got good books, you've regularly filed your tax return, you're not behind on anything. So all that information is available, and we can pull it out and get some opportunities to evaluate those in separation and then combine it back together.
And there's a byproduct of that happened as well, I'm imagining, which is updating what your basis in the company is, correct?
Yeah.
Not in the valuation part, but just in sorry, I don't want to talk over you, Ross. Ross's wife suggested we don't talk over each other as much. So
thanks, babe.
Yep. Thanks, babe. Thanks, his babe.
How do I get back on track?
Basis.
The basis doesn't update unless you're putting more cash into or taking cash out of. So it changes the valuation and the market look, but unless it's changing hands or you're putting more money in or out, then the basis is not updating. And changing hands, I'm thinking of passing it to your heirs and getting the step up in basis to that new valuation. Okay. But that goes back to the when should you have it done?
Yeah. So I was wondering more like if, having not been an accountant, if in the process, if kind of in that same context of conversation and the data that you're gathering, if that's maybe also on one hand, you're able to go, okay, here's what it's worth. And then as you've reinvested, here's what your updated basis is or something like that.
Yeah. So you should be getting regular updated basis valuations when you file your tax return. So that's part of that process. But separate, let's look at houses. So you bought your house a couple of years ago and it's gone up drastically in the current market. So there's no update on your financial statement or your business financial statement for the change in the real estate. But as we're talking valuation, we'll definitely factor that into the current valuation of the business because of what it owns and what it can put into the market to be sold. So
one thing, so you're talking about, or we were talking about, as an accountant, some accountants will do this. Maybe it's a little bit more of that falls on that informal side. Some certainly can, and will offer a more formal valuation,
market review, all that kind of stuff.
And then there are companies who exist just like just like a realtor that would help you buy and sell real estate.
Yeah.
There are essentially like business
Brokers.
real estate agents, right? Yes,
Yeah,
they're
business
business brokers, and they will not only help you to determine what's a value, so how much should we list this for? They'll help you to bring it to market, help find those suitable buyers, interested buyers who are interested in. And vice versa. So you might be on the side of this conversation where you're maybe looking to buy a business, right? And so, but those brokers range, right? So some of them are going to be credentialed, experienced. Others are going to be, I'm just kind of cutting my teeth on business transactions.
Yeah, but also market-specific professionals can make a difference. So what I mean there is that you can get a general business broker, or you can get a business broker for lemonade stands. And it's probably the highly specialized. It may be more expensive, but also you may be able to draw more out of what exactly is the market for this lemonade stand, but with someone who does that type of business sale often.
Yeah. And so there are, and if you're going to have a formal valuation done, maybe look for one that is, credentialed through the, I think it's American. I'm going blank now. Should have written that down. But anyways, there's like a kind of a government standard for in the appraising industry. That would be a good thing to look for. And we have contacts. So, I mean, if you are a business owner and you're going, well, gosh, yeah, I'd really want to do this. Where do I start? Reach out to us. We actually know companies who we know them well, and they know their stuff, and they're very good and highly credentialed, who can provide that service to you. We'd be happy to make that introduction. By the same token, informal. If you're looking for an informal valuation, that's something that Ross and I can provide. That isn't going to be take it to market, but giving you an idea, maybe for the buy sell, maybe for the insurance, or just to have some idea of what you think it might be worth.
And one note on that, the informal is going to have a much broader range. Mm-hmm. And as you get formalized and specialized, it's going to have a smaller range of potential. And so when you come to us, we'll leave you with some questions. And when you go to a highly specialized business valuation person, they'll leave you with probably less questions. Yeah.
All right, Ross. So that wraps up business valuation talk.
Awesome.
So let's shift.
This was a good one.
Yeah. It was fun. And if you own a business or you know somebody who owns one, make sure they get a copy of this. And again, reach out to us if we can help you guys in any way on your personal business valuation or business planning. It's something that we do a lot of work in. All right. So what have you been listening to, my friend?
Okay. So this is a song that got stuck in my head. I don't remember exactly where I was, some public space, and the song was on, and then it just kept rolling around in my head. It's Islands in the Stream, Dolly Parton, and
just that one song?
Yeah, just that one song. It's
okay.
And I haven't been actively seeking out, listen. Maybe that's what I should do, is go and listen to it all the way, start to finish, so that I can get it out of my brain.
So you've been listening to it a lot, but not start to finish? It's just been pieces?
Just in my head.
Oh,
it's stuck in my head.
Okay,
just a part of it
you.
is stuck in my head. And so it's like listening to it, but without the active listening.
Oh, man.
It's just trapped in there.
And you kind of find yourself singing parts of it here and there?
Yeah. So what about you?
Abby, do you know that song? No? Abby doesn't know that song. We'll educate you. We'll culture you, boy.
That's part of your internship.
That's right.
It's going to be a cultural.
Speaking of which, hey, welcome Abby back.
That's right.
To the Fun Money Podcast and interning for Ross and I. He was with us last summer. Abby graduated high school what it would have been
last week.
Last week, yeah, like just graduated, and he will be starting at my alma mater, Texas A&M University, this upcoming fall, and we begged and pleaded for him to come back, and he very reluctantly said yes. But no, that's not true. That's not true. But no, we're thrilled to have Abby back in the studio with us. So glad to have you, sir.
Okay, Josh, what have you been listening to?
Okay, this is crazy. I formulated a playlist. I don't even remember why this happened, but pirate songs. Not pirated. Pirate type music. Okay. I made a playlist, and there's this song called Wellerman, that the sea shanty. Yeah. And, Nathan Evans, it was sort of like a social media.
Yes. Early on in the pandemic, it was like, hot.
Yeah. And so I think maybe I saw a video or something. I was like, oh, that's a good song. I need to. And then that got me listening. And I was like, where's some other music that sounds like this? And so here are some of what is on my playlist. So Santiano, Nathan Evans, and then one of your favorites, Hans Zimmer, his Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack. So there are these songs, Drums and Guns.
How many tracks are on this playlist?
The fifth on the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tracks so far.
Okay.
And growing.
And growing. Open to suggestions if you have any pirate songs.
That's right. Shoot some pirate songs over that are good. But this is a fun playlist.
Shoot them over.
In
a cannon.
Yep, that's right. With extra booty. Like pirate booty.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. On that note, get your business booty evaluated. That's what we were talking about today.
Right. Treasure chests.
Yeah.
Of
all right.
Business valuations.
Before we get off the rails too much further, this has been fun. Thanks for tuning in and listening to us. And we'll see you guys next time.
Sounds good.